One of my favorite movies opens with the scene of war, the Gladiator, where you see the Romans who are about to get into a fight with the barbarians. And at this time, they've been very powerful. They've been winning a lot of battles. And so, of course, there's a general who needs to address a speech to his crew, to his army, so that they will be excited to fight for the cause, excited even to lay down their lives for a greater and higher purpose. And so, scared in front of the enemy, he has this great one line that he says, "What we do in life echoes in eternity." What we do in life echoes in eternity. And of course, like all excited by this great speech, they go, get into battle, and they win. One, because that's a great speech. Two, because I think it's Hollywood, so they have to win after such a great speech. But what we do in life echoes in eternity, true. You know, Jesus is presenting to us today in the gospel something that regards our eternity. We have a rich man and his action, the way, how he lived and what he did in life, and now what he did echoed in eternity. And likewise, this poor beggar, Lazarus, was being there waiting and waiting for something good to happen to him. But since he had his share in his life of what was bad, in eternity was rewarded. I think the rich man teaches us how at times we can be so caught up in our life. He has party, he has all he needs, but it's so self-centered. It's all about he himself, his pleasure, and what he wants, that he cannot even see people that are staying at the door of his house. Not far away, not in the street, at the door of his house. So much is self-absorbed. There's no room for nothing. No room also for somebody from the dead rising and telling him, change. And on the other side, we have this poor Lazarus. It's very interesting. Do you know what the name Lazarus means? It means whom God helps. The one who is helped by God. But if we see and we read his life, it doesn't really seem that his name fits his life, his destiny. I mean, he's there begging. He would like to eat the scraps falling off the food of the table of this man. Not even that. Doesn't find even compassion from his fellow man, but only from dogs. No, animals usually lick themselves for healing. And so dogs understand his state of being, and not other humans. Can you imagine how many times, we find ourselves saying, well, where is the help of God? Keep saying he's faithful to his promises. He's going to answer my prayer. Things are going to get better. But I don't see it. But we know that Lazarus, how he lived in this life, echoed in eternity also for him. Because he had grace. He experienced not suffering anymore. And not just for a few years, but forever, for eternity. And oftentimes I think we grow up with the image of hell and heaven like we learn it in kindergarten or in first grade at school. There's a flame on one side, there's this blue sky, maybe the grass, and you don't really know what else is there. You know there's God. So let me try to give you a different experience of hell and heaven. So think about the person you love the most. The person you say, he or she knows me inside out. I can always rely on them. They know everything. I love them so dearly. Well, imagine that one day you said, this person exists, but you're not going to see him anymore. You're going to be separated from this person forever. No other friends, nothing else will be able to fill that void that you find, that suffering, that longing that you have, to be in that presence, to enjoy the company, to be able to look in each other's eyes and love each other dearly and fondly. This is hell. When you're left alone in your misery, no friends, separation for your dearest and most loved person. So on the other side, paradise is be able to enjoy that communion and the fullness of life you're experiencing and the greatest love you're experiencing forever, all the time, every second of every minute, especially because there's no time in heaven, so it will be always. But we know that oftentimes when we sin, there are consequences of our sins. You know, if I punch somebody in the face because we're in an argument and I don't like what he's saying, and I'm not very politically correct, then I say, oh, why did I do that? I'm so sorry. I don't know. My temper got the best of me. And he says, yeah, I accept your apology. I forgive you. Well, he's still going to have a black eye for a month. And so the consequences of my actions stay longer. And that's what we call purgatory. When we die, we need to have a place where we prepare to see the loved person, the one we love so dearly, and enjoy forever the fullness of the joy of being together. But the good news is that even if you are going through some purification, you know that eventually you will enjoy this communion, that eventually they will be for you forever. I have another image that maybe can help you. Imagine I have a rope. Imagine I put in this rope all around the perimeter of the church. Very, very long all around. That's eternity. Our life here on earth, it's the very beginning, the very tiny tip of this whole rope. And these very tiny moments that we have here determines all the rest of this rope. Very, very little time. And I think it can help us to put things in perspective, especially if we find ourselves in the Lazarus position where, well, you're telling me you're helping me, but nothing is happening. I've been living a miserable life for 6 months, for a year, for 3 years. It's a very tiny little part of this whole rope. And the way you respond to it in life here will echo in that eternity. So when you have things put in perspective, maybe you have more courage and more desire to say, here I can do things that will impact my eternity, my whole life. And I think something that can leave you thinking and maybe acting every single day, looking to eternity, is this very simple question. If I die today, will I go to heaven? If God comes to me and says, your time on earth is done, will I go to heaven? And oftentimes we think, I have time. And then I hear my country a month ago, earthquake, Louisiana flood. You know, people lose their life unexpectedly. Keep that in the back of your mind and maybe even more moved by love to be in communion with the one you really and truly love. I want to be there. I want to share with them everything. And not just for a bitty tiny time, but forever. What we do in life truly echoes in eternity. And what we do in life can help us to make eternity a better place.